Hello everyone, welcome back to Keeping It Real with Nick. Here we have Cheryl Zinyk. She is a felicitator and community artist. So let's tell her life story. So, Cheryl, you are a community artist and musician. Can you tell me and our viewers a bit about your beginnings, about your community artistic life?
My beginnings. I think I studied some improv at Second City. Did the 8 sessions, and so I was trained at Second City, and I learned a little bit of clown, studied some clown,
Yep.
and voice work. But I think community art, I just have been performing in different capacities. So depending on where I was living, sometimes I was in community choirs or a performance for an organization that wants to celebrate an anniversary. So that might have happened in different places like Saskatchewan, and here in Toronto, L'Arche Daybreak was celebrating their 25th anniversary and wanted to create a play and talk about what their history was. So I've been part of these projects along the way to, I don't know, create community and build, tell stories of community organizations and what they offer the city. So that's been sort of what I have been doing, and I just kind of have fallen into it in the past, and then I started to study more so that I can understand community art, and so I started studying more about theater of the oppressed with Augusto Boal, and studying more of forum theater and learning more about forum theater and being trained in that so that I could listen to people in communities.
And you studied clown with Natalie.
Natalie and I were clowns together, yes, and we studied with a woman named Sue Morrison, and it was a particular style called clown through mask that was originated by a man named Richard Pachenko. So it was a course in discovering your own clown, and the idea of celebrating and living humanity. And a part of it is that if I can laugh at myself, I can be free. So that was a bit of what that clown work was about. And then I did clown in different bars and places that weren't expecting a clown to perform, and I went to open mics and performed there.
Like we did with Soul Express, we also did clown.
We did clown in Soul Express, and Natalie came to help train for the clown. And so we learned a little bit of the same. I think we made masks. We did. So we created our clowns. You're a very good clown.
Yes.
I love your clown.
Trying to outdo your clown. Actually, I remember that.
Yes, yeah.
And we started doing that with clowning with Natalie 10 years ago.
Yes, yes. And so we keep progressing with our clown.
Yeah, we still keep doing it. I understand that you've worked with a number of universities in the GTA on arts-informed research. Can you share that with us?
Sure. Sometimes when people are doing research, they have a lot of questions to ask people, and they're collecting data. And often, for many years, they just relied on people's words and what they said, but a lot of our information can be held in our body, and there are other ways that we can kind of access what we think or feel about things. And so the arts-based research allows, we play a lot of the theater games, a lot of the games from, again, theater for non-actors, and create experiences where people can use their body and their imagination to then talk about a particular topic that they feel strongly about, and or they can use their body to express something. So then the people who are researching collect that material as well, and so they get I think they get a broader understanding of what an issue might be. So my role in it is to listen to what the themes are, to create an atmosphere that people feel safe, and then to play theater games so that can access people's what they want to say, either through their body, through art, and through their words, or they use poetry. Yeah.
True, and we also done that too.
Yeah, that's how we kind of come up with our
Yeah.
our performances. Is we do a lot of research first,
Yeah.
and we do a lot of exploration first, and then we create something together.
And we started doing that today.
We did.
With our friends.
Yes.
This year.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's coming up this coming summer.
It is.
So, Cheryl, in 2003, you also toured Europe and the United Kingdom, researching theoretical natives centered on adults with developmental disabilities. What did you do there, and how long were you there for?
So I was fortunate enough to take a year sabbatical. So prior to that, I was working in the L'Arche community and creating home with people with developmental disabilities. And in the meantime, I was also doing some other studies and research in theater and voice. And so then I had a year off that I could do some of this research. So I took a year off, and I started by going to New York, and there was a conference called Performing the World. And there were people, yeah, it was very cool. And there were people all over the world who were artists who did art for social change. So the belief was that if we kind of have more creativity in the world, we can change our world for the better. So it was really awesome, and there were tons of different people there. And there was one woman from Wales who she was talking about disability theater and about changing what's called the aesthetic, meaning how theater looks, what is beautiful, what isn't beautiful, how we can have theater in different ways. And she was really interesting, and they did a lot of poetry work with people who might have been part of the mental health, actually probably survivors of the mental health institutions. And so she did work with them, and they created beautiful poetry and beautiful art from their perspective. And that was really interesting for me. And so then I got to know from her other places. So then I spent time in England with a group called Body and Soul, and they had they worked with a fellow who started it who really loved musical theater, so I worked with him. And then I went to Ukraine, and I worked with a group called Tears and Laughter, and I spent about 3 months with them. And then there's an amazing group in Germany called Ramba Zamba, and I spent some time with them to learn about how they create their theater and how they started. And I love their work. They were doing things that I wanted to do, so I really liked spending time with them. And another group called Spare Tire Theater. So they also, they worked with Shakespeare plays sometimes, or they would create. So I just got to spend time with them to see how they create, visited places in Germany, spent time with another group in Vancouver called Theater Terrific. And so they talked to me about how they started, what they think is really important about theater with people with disabilities, and also I talked to all those who were participating in those theater initiatives. So it was a bit of a research, and also kind of playing theater with the people to kind of learn how they create as well. So it was a lot of fun. I loved it. It was really great.
And when did you go to England?
You actually have it, 2003?
2003.
Okay, good. So
yes.
That's where I went. I went in 2003. So that was
What
super
month?
that you, what month? So, okay, so the first bit, I think I went, gosh, I'm getting old, so I can't remember. But I think I went in January, if I don't, yeah.
Oh,
And I emailed all of them ahead of time, told them what I'm interested in, asked them if I could spend time with them.
I went in August of 2003.
I
went to London, England.
Oh.
In that same year.
Oh,
But I went in August.
Okay.
But it was through Friday Village. It was a Europe exchange.
What did you do there? What were you doing there?
We were just there to live in a community and live in their neck of the woods.
Oh, nice.
And get
nice.
the experience there.
Yeah, I think I honestly, Nick, I can't even. I just can't remember when it was.
Oh, I see.
I think it was. I think it was in the middle of the year because I think I came back already in August. I was getting ready to get back into L'Arche.
Ah, I
Yeah,
see.
so
Luckily, we didn't
our
cross
paths.
paths.
Luckily,
Luckily, we didn't, because we would have met like a few years ago. We would
ahead
have
of
had
time.
met.
Yeah.
So it worked out for you in England.
Yes, it was really good. I really liked what they were doing and how they were doing their theater.
And I guess you took a lot from that.
I did. Like, I think part of it was one in Spur Tire Theater. What I really loved is people were there only if they wanted to be there, and so that had a huge impact. So it wasn't. They had a program, an arts program, but it was they would interview people, and they were there because that was a passion that they had, and what they were providing was education and making space for people to be. To learn about the skill of performance or of art. And so I really was inspired by them a lot. And I also liked Ramba Zamba because they said that they're not a therapy session. So it wasn't like art, every time you say art with people with disabilities, it's therapy. There are people who have disabilities who want to be artists and have a passion to be artists. And so how do we make space for that and make space for that creation? So that's what I liked about what they said, and that's what encouraged me too.
Well, that is good to know. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
Cheryl, I understand that you are also the community leader of L'Arche Toronto, or are you not?
I am not.
Okay.
But I'll tell you who is. So Raphael Ahrens is the community leader of L'Arche Toronto. So he's like the community leader, executive director. And what I am is, so I am the leader of well, you're the leader too of Soul Express.
Yes.
And we kind of share that leadership, but I am what people would call artistic coordinator of Soul Express, which is part of L'Arche Toronto.
Sure.
There's a lot of words and titles.
And how long have you been there, and how did that came about? What is your most favorite and rewarding part in your role at Soul Express and L'Arche Toronto?
Okay, good. So L'Arche Toronto I've been with for 25 years. It's a long time.
Yeah.
And in that, we create homes where we live together. Often we had lived with people who were in institutions and finding a place, trying to create home together. And so I loved creating home. I love creating home together and being creative in how we make a good space together. And then Soul Express, I think it's been 10 years where we create performances and art. And it's a program that we offer education, so we work with professionals who come in. So I think what I like about it is the collaboration and building relationship. And so having professionals come in to train and to teach and to giving people space to learn what we all want to learn about. So what are the tools? What can we learn so that we can express ourselves better? So having the professionals coming in and teaching us their skill helps us build our skill, and then we can expand or get bigger in how we express ourselves. And for me, that's kind of exciting. And also what I always love is the collaborating. So how we come up with our performance piece in particular, I really love. So I like working with you and us researching together and exploring together, and these little bits that come up and all these different ideas that then eventually kind of weave into some performance. I find that very fun. Yeah. So that's a highlight. The collaboration is a highlight. And one other highlight is sharing space on stage. So
that's true.
Yeah. So in our last performance where we were doing clown together, your clown was really strong.
Yes.
And he was really bossy, and I loved it. Yeah. And I loved that interaction, and that we both had very good, strong power on stage, and we were sharing it.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, and I like that. I like when we share power on stage.
Yeah, me too. And I was bossing you and Natalie around.
You were.
That was the best part of the whole performance.
Yeah, but we fought back too, which was really fun. That we could. We were worried that we would hurt. That we knew that we could we could like.
Yeah, I bet you, but that didn't happen.
Oh, we didn't listen to you right away.
Oh yeah, not right away, but
We made you work.
you made me work, so that was part of the whole process.
That's exactly, and you made us work.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's a win-win situation.
definitely.
So that was a lot of fun.
It was. It was.
And also, Cheryl, did you have any role models growing up? And what inspired you most about them?
Yes, my grandmother was a really good role model. And she was a person who was very creative, and she was very generous. So if she did a recipe and somebody liked it, she would share the whole recipe and not hold back. You know, sometimes people will share a recipe and they're like, well, they'll kind of save the best ingredient and they don't tell you about it. My grandmother was someone who was extremely generous with what she knew. And she also had this really good sense of humor. So she taught me to laugh at myself. Yes. So if I would make a mistake at school or if something happened, I would phone her and tell her what happened. Or if I baked something and it didn't work, I would tell her, and she'd just have a really good sense of humor. And her humor wasn't put down. It was a humor that just kind of laughed at life. And so that was a really good teaching for me too. And what else about my grandmother that I thought was a really great storyteller. And I think that affects how I tell stories and when I do storytelling. Yeah.
That's really good to know that.
Yeah.
I guess she was a good role model in your life.
Yes.
Your grandmother.
Yes, she was an ordinary woman who was a good storyteller and had a good sense of humor, and that really inspired me and taught me.
But do you have other role models in your family?
In my family, my brothers are amazing artists, so they're my role models. And my mother also was her house is full of her artwork and my brother's artwork and anything that I did, so that's there. And I think now I'm inspired too by, there's a woman named Twyla Tharp who wrote a great book called The Creative Habit. And it just talks about how to kind of structure your life so that you're open to moments of creativity. So she's also someone that I find inspiring.
That's really good to know that. Thanks for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Aside from your community artistic work, do you have any hobbies?
Life gets pretty full, but I love singing.
You do?
And I was in a pop-up choir for dance makers, and so that was really fun. So it was totally outside of my role or job. I didn't have to think about anything except singing and listening to the other person who was directing, so that was really good. And I love cooking. I love to find new recipes and create and cook. I like reading. I like making cards.
And you also play guitar too sometimes, too.
Yes, that's a little bit of a hobby too, yes.
And how long have you been doing that?
Well, I started guitar when I was 16, and I taught myself. I did take lessons, but I never practiced, and I was a terrible student. So I just...
I don't think I believe that.
Yeah, I was not a good student.
So you were.
But yes, yes, and I and just recently I started to learn piano, and I'm really very, very basic. Like I learned the scales, which was good. But
that's good to know that.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing. You are not only a successful and well-respected community artistic of Large Toronto Soul Express. What are your words of wisdom for young men and women who are becoming community artists when dealing with people with developmental disabilities?
Yeah, I think it's important to keep making space. I think it's important to believe in people's ability and And so also in gentle ways to keep calling people that they can do the more and that they're able to do the more. And I think it's also important to, I think listen and share and provide good research, good opportunities, find people who know what they're doing so that they can teach well. I think all of that's really important, but I think a big thing is making space and trying to frame things with good quality. Yeah.
True.
And believing in people who are amazing, gifted, talented, and just keep helping people build their tools so that they have the freedom to do as much as they can.
Yeah, like building their abattoir.
Yes. Yeah, building what all of the things. By abattoir, you mean like their all of the building a lot of their work?
Yes.
Okay.
Like their body of work.
Their body of work. So building their body of work.
So building their body of work.
Yes. Yeah.
And also thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
And thanks for coming on to the Disability Channel today. And thank you guys for watching. Keep watching our videos on the Disability Channel. Please subscribe on YouTube and also find us on Twitter, Instagram, and other etc. networks as possible. So please feel free to check us out and check out our website. It has been updated, so check that out and hope to get back to you later. Thanks for watching.